Actually listened to a little bit of music today. Drake, Started From the Bottom. A little bit of inspiration for the video here. Let me shut it off real quick because I don't want to get one of those infringements from YouTube. So Started From the Bottom is kind of some inspiration, but actually the main inspiration for this video was some footage that I shot and never released from the Redcon 1 visit that I did, if you guys remember that. Let me play that footage for you guys right now.
And then over here, Taylor, she's not there, but Taylor's a cool story. I'll let you get to see it. I'll point him out when he comes by. But Taylor packed boxes, so he started in the very beginning as one of our first packers. And at the time, I think he was 20 years old or so, because he's 24-ish now, and he has steadily moved up, far more mature 24-year-old than I was. I was a mess. So it's amazing to see somebody so responsible and so dedicated and incredibly driven at such a young age. So literally went from packing boxes for $12 an hour to now running the entire logistics and warehouse portion of the business.
Impressive.
The kid is like a super rock star, so eventually we'll run into him.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to catch that conversation that I had with Taylor at Redcon 1 on video, but we did have a really good discussion and we shared a lot of similarities to this aspect of like kind of starting from the bottom in the sports nutrition industry and just how we approached hard work and kind of continuously being curious and always trying to offer our opinion, our value, always trying to make sure that our name was like at the top of the pile and just honestly making sure that we were giving our all every day. But this is kind of the point of this video, is to hopefully give some insights and inspiration around how to get into the sports nutrition industry. I know it's one of those industries that looks very attractive, very appealing to a lot of people, but can be intimidating to a lot of people because it is very close-knit. Though there is a lot of revenue that gets created in the industry, it is very much kind of this small community of individuals. So how do you break into it? That might be daunting for people. So this video hopefully will help you kind of look at that challenge in a different way and kind of maybe you're able to approach this in a way that makes sense for you. And I'm going to be sharing my story, my perspective on this, but I also have a few of my friends that also kind of had a similar start from the bottom and have progressed in their career. And they're going to share their stories. They're going to give you guys advice as well. I have Ryan Bucki, Eric Schwartz, and Daniel Pierce. They took time out of their busy days to help me on this project, so I really appreciate that. But before I share those videos, I want to just give you guys a little bit of my story, how I got started. Hopefully, maybe it'll help you a little bit. So how I got into the sports nutrition industry was back in 2006. I started to look for information on supplements and fitness and health and nutrition because I kind of had a new group of friends in college. They were really into bodybuilding, so I needed to catch up to their knowledge base. So bodybuilding.com was a great place to do that. Just kind of while I was searching through things and posting and talking to people on internet forums. You got to remember this is a time frame when, social media wasn't kind of the same as it is today. So spending a lot of time on like internet forums when you're looking at like a niche topic was what you did. You couldn't really find a lot of like-minded people other than in internet forums. So I started to post, started to add value, started to have conversations with different people on there. And I attracted a company, Beast Sports, asking me if I would be kind of an internet forum rep or kind of an internet customer service rep. During that time frame, because social media wasn't what it is today, you didn't really have those like corporate company pages and people didn't really utilize social media in that way. So a lot of people were asking questions on a bodybuilding.com forum or something like that. So you had to have people that could answer those questions as quick as possible. Similar to now, if somebody sends a Facebook message at all hours of the night, people expect to have an answer. So I provided that. So starting out at just getting free product, nothing more, no monetary, no money, anything like that. I kind of just took it as an opportunity to get my foot in the door, learn about something that I was passionate about at the time. And I was able to kind of get in there and learn the business. And over the first 6 months, I was able to kind of get some more opportunities. They started to ask me to do some things that weren't on the internet, like go to some of their GNC accounts, some of their Vitamin Shop accounts to do some demos. That progressed into them sending me to like the Arnold Classic and the Olympia and other trade shows. And then that progressed into them sending me across the country to visit stores and things, all when I was still in college, when I was was an undergrad in graduate school. So I was able to really progress pretty quickly because I took it as, hey, somebody's going to give me a chance. I'm going to make that chance into something that's really worthwhile. And that's an approach that I've taken my whole career. I have always just said, if I can get myself in the game, I'm going to be able to make something happen. And that has been the same strategy that I've taken when I worked at a company like Muscle Farm, and when I started my own consulting company, in which I'm doing today, is that if I can get myself in the room, I know that I can create a bunch of value. So regardless of what it takes for me to get in the room, I need to kind of be able to do that, especially at the beginning. So doing things like, free spec work, or being able to just show your value in ways that shows that you're a self-starter and you could do things on your own, and making sure that people can trust you are important things to think about. So my advice, if you are an individual that's looking to get into the sports nutrition industry, is to really understand, like, where are you strong at? What would you like to do with your future? And go out there and do some free work. If you have some brands or companies that you admire or you love, reach out to them and say, hey, is there anything I can help you on for totally for free? If you need help or you need access to assets or something like that, then you obviously have to ask. If you don't, just go out and self-start yourself. Like, if you want to do something in social media for them, or you want to create content, go create these great things on your own. If you want to do social media, you should have the best social media out there, your personal social media. You should be able to show people that you know what you're doing based around your own personal social media, or your own photography, your own videography. That's the difference, is that if you're already doing it on your own, a company is much more willing to give you a chance because they're saying, wow, he's already out there proving it and doing it himself. And just because you get access and they say yes to a free project, that doesn't necessarily mean after you give them that free project, they're going to give you a job. You have to be patient. You have to understand that it takes time. You have to think long term. You have to really foster the relationships, and networking is a huge thing in the industry. If you do right by people, people will definitely tell other people, and it just presents your reputation in a very strong way long term, so you can have the opportunity to do exactly what you want to do within the industry at the highest level in the future. And I kind of ponder sometimes, like, if I was needing to start fresh and try to get my foot in the door in 2020 and not in 2006 when I was starting, like, what would I do? And I don't know if I would approach it any different than I did in 2006. I mean, I really just needed to get my foot in the door. I utilized this wild thing called the internet, which is even more wild today, that you have access to anybody at any time, and you are only limited by your mindset. You can literally do anything. It's the thing that, like, levels the playing field overall, is the internet. And though I probably wouldn't be spending a lot of time on the internet forums, I'd probably be spending them in the social media apps. I would still take the same approach that I did in 2006 to just get my foot in the door, because I know if I'm in the room, it's a much better opportunity than sitting on the stands. I need to be in the game, and I need to figure out, how do I get in there? I'm going to think long term. I'm going to add value. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. And I assume if you stumble on this video, maybe you'll take the time to look at my social media. The links are down below of the video. You guys can see my approach. You guys can see how I still walking the walk of what I'm talking about here. And you could see how that will help you progress within the industry. So I hope you guys got a little bit of inspiration, or just maybe just learned a little bit more about me and my story. But I want to kind of pass this off. It's going to go to Ryan first, and then the story will move over to Eric, and then over to Dan.
So my story in getting into the dietary supplement industry stems from graduating from the Carlson School of Management in Minneapolis at the University of Minnesota. I got a master's degree, and I've been a user of dietary supplements for a long time. And I think that's the key right away. If you want to be in the dietary supplement industry, you probably should use products and be familiar with what you're using and why you're using them. And I was infatuated by fitness and nutrition and the dietary supplement industry, and I understood that it was a rising, booming industry at that point. And I wanted to get into it. And luckily at that point, my now ex-wife lived in Milwaukee, and there was a company down there called supplementwarehouse.com. Now, this is before the boom of D2C, so direct-to-consumer. Those websites and that transaction never really took place back in 2014. You really, if you wanted dietary supplements, you had to go to a GNC, a vitamin shop, bodybuilding.com, a supplementwarehouse.com, a tigerfitness.com. Amazon was just starting to get into dietary supplements at that point. So online retailers like supplementwarehouse.com really were the place to go to purchase your dietary supplements. And I knew that they were in Milwaukee. And there was an opportunity for me to get my foot into the door into the industry, in which at that point I was in love with. I loved the products. I loved what the industry represented. And so I took a pay cut. I have a master's degree. Typically, after you get a master's degree, you need to make close to six figures in order to say like the ROI on that investment it was good. And I took a pay cut from my current job. I was with Progressive Insurance as a claims adjuster making $56,000 a year. I took a role with Supplement Warehouse as a marketing consultant for $50,000 a year. So I took a pay cut with a master's degree to get my foot into the door of the dietary supplement industry. And like I said, I was a marketing consultant, or an e-marketing specialist was actually my title, which would be digital marketing, which you think about that realm. Supplement Warehouse thrived on the digital marketing platform. So I was handling things like Google AdWords, the social media pages, but I was also doing a lot of data entry stuff, and something that I was not a fan of. And I was brought in really to help kind of change that company and turn that company around and be a consultant to the CEO. But really, the suggestions that were given from my point of view through my education and through my experience was essentially brushed over. So I had known that spot at Supplement Warehouse was not for me. So after 6 months, I had left that company. But I had experienced in Olympia for the first time, and I got to meet a lot of contacts within the sports nutrition industry. And really, that stemmed from me taking a pay cut to get into the industry that I loved. And then from there, I was able to forge these connections with a lot of people in the industry that are still friends of mine today. So fast forward then, 2014 to almost exactly 2 years later of 2016, I launched fitnessinformant.com. And the idea from fitnessinformant.com really kind of stemmed from the Olympia back in 2014. In a meeting with Europa, I had pitched to Europa that Supplement Warehouse should start a YouTube channel where we personally review dietary supplements that we sell on supplementwarehouse.com to help increase the transactions through our .com by utilizing this platform called YouTube. At that point, seemed like a cool idea, but nobody really wanted to go with it. So 2 years later, I took that idea and I ran with it for fitnessinformant.com. So from 2016 to currently, FI has been in existence, but I didn't do Fitness Informant full-time until 2019. And I realized that in order to make this a viable business, I had to expand what I was doing. I had to commit myself full-time to the brand. And now we're one of the most reputable brands within sports nutrition media and fitness media across the United States and across the planet. So where I'm at today compared to where I was then, I'm seen as sort of a figure within the industry and as a quote-unquote expert. And I'm by no means an expert. I learn every single day. So my recommendation would be is if you're out there and you want to get into the dietary supplement industry, first and foremost, you have to believe in what you're doing and what you're using. You have to have an understanding on what a dietary supplement is, why you're using it, and really if there's brands that you trust, use those brands, because those are the brands that you might be able to get your foot into the door. And you might start as an ambassador. You might start as a tier operator or a legionnaire, whatever it might be. But you can always use your status within that sort of realm where you're technically an extension of their sales team to then get into a role. Read papers, read clinical studies, read scientific studies on ingredients, understand what the companies are about, understand what the dietary, what actually defines a dietary supplement from a drug, and just start grinding. And if you really have a passion for this, you're going to find a way into the industry, whether it's through constant contact with higher ups within those supplement brands that you're passionate about. Start making contacts. Use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great platform for the dietary supplement industry. Visit the Olympia, visit the Arnold Classic, and start to network within the field. Because if you don't really have an in or an insight into the business or the industry, and with no background, it's going to be very hard for you to get in. So if I was forced to start over today, I would leverage my social media platforms of LinkedIn. I would visit these expos like Arnold and Olympia and network and try to make as many connections as possible and let people know that you're interested in being in this industry. Whether, again, if you have to start by being an affiliate or an ambassador, there's nothing wrong with that. Get your foot in the door, work hard, bust ass. Sometimes you have to eat shit for a little bit, like I did at Supplement Warehouse, but then the opportunities are endless. You can make a lot of money in this industry. It's a $40 billion industry. It's going to keep growing, especially with things like CBD coming in and this whole new refocus on health regeneration that we have as a society. So you definitely can get into the industry. Just be passionate about it, be understanding of what you're using and what you're doing. And the biggest thing is it's all about who you know. And so make connections through LinkedIn and through expos, through small meet and greets. It might be at your local GNCs, your vitamin shops. That's really how you're going to start to expand your network within this space, because at the end of the day, the dietary supplement industry is a small industry. Once you're in, and you can be in forever, and you can enjoy the ride.
Hey guys, Eric Schwartz here, Vice President of Marketing for Nutrabio. Wanted to talk to you guys about getting involved in the supplement industry. I've been in the industry a little over 11 years now. Talk about my start. I was a consumer, just like your average consumer, buying supplements, training, living the life. I competed in bodybuilding. I loved it. And I started out on the bodybuilding.com forums. You got to understand, back then, this is long before Instagram, Facebook, any of that, MySpace, any of that stuff. So we had the forums, and bodybuilding.com was a big part of it. And I was on there posting, and I would passionately talk about companies that I believed in. One of those was Universal Nutrition. Very passionate about their products, their marketing. Their marketing spoke to me. It was honest. They didn't lie to me. They didn't say, hey, this is going to increase your bench press 500%. I found that to be disingenuous. Okay. And I was in a completely different industry. I was a sales director for a plumbing company, American Standard, right here in New Jersey. And I was going to visit a plumbing company wholesaler. Down the block from them was Universal Nutrition. And as I was driving by, I said to myself, look, man, I'd much rather be selling supplements, animal pack, that I believe in, than toilets. I just wasn't passionate about it. It was a great job, but I wasn't passionate about it. And I got recognized on the bodybuilding.com forums by Universal and Animal. I shot them an email. I said, hey, I'm interested. The owner happened to pick up the email. He said to me, next time you're in the neighborhood, stop in, we'll talk. So the next time I went to go visit that plumbing wholesaler, I stopped in and we just had a very casual talk. Met a few people there, and he said they liked me, but they didn't have any positions available. Okay. A few weeks after that, they contacted me about becoming a rep on bodybuilding.com, where I would talk about the products like in an official capacity. In compensation, just getting some free products for it. But I would have done it anyway because I loved it. Anyways, about 3 years goes by. So 3 years after I interviewed, I never gave up on it. I would go to the Arnold on my own dime. I'd go to the Olympia on my own dime. One, because I enjoyed it, but two, I really wanted this job. So I would make sure to stop by that booth, talk to the owner, talk to the management, just let them know, hey, I'm still interested. I kept in contact with the owner. Not to be annoying, but like maybe every 3 to 6 months, I would try a new product and I would review it for him and I would give him honest feedback. I didn't just kiss his ass. And I think they appreciated that. And one day they called me up, I think this was 2007, and they said, hey, you want to come work the cage? I was like, hell yeah. They're going to fly me out to the Arnold. I got to work the cage. It was really, really cool. I did not expect to get compensated for it. But at the end of the weekend, they tried to hand me a check. And I said, look, I don't really want the check. I was just happy to be there. So I thought that was really cool. And about a month later, they hit me up and they said, hey, you still interested in the job? And I said, hell yeah. And mind you, I was happy at the plumbing company, but this was an opportunity, man. So I jumped all over it. Started out as the brand manager there. I remember we had multiple brands. It was Universal, it was Animal, there was a lot of stuff going on. Worked there for 11 years. Didn't progress very quickly because there wasn't a ton of different opportunities there. It's a small family-run company, even though they're a big company industry. It's a family-run company, but did a lot of cool stuff. Got to travel the world, into the cage, got to spend some time with these great athletes. Just really enjoyed the work. It was a lot of work, but I enjoyed the heck out of it. So for those of you that want to get into the supplement industry, my advice would be to really get involved. If there's a specific brand that you want to work for, I would make sure that you communicate with them, let them know. I'd be on social media, not in a phony way. It's got to be authentic. See, my thing was authenticity. I really believed in the brand and believed in their message. It was honest. They never pushed supplements. So you got to believe in it. I'd be on social media. I would promote the brand and not expect compensation. Everybody nowadays, they want to be a sponsored athlete right away or a brand ambassador or something right away. You got to put in some time, show that you're real, show that you're authentic, and then let the company know what you can do for them. Don't just expect them to hire you based on you being a fanboy or just a fan of the company. You got to really show them what business skills that you have that you can bring to the table to help expand their brand. If I was to start over in 2020 and wanted to get my foot in the door, again, I would use the social channels. I would try to get in with the company somewhere, somebody personal, even just an employee that works in the company, and develop a relationship with that person. I would go to the trade shows where I know they were at, see them face to face, and I would be persistent but not annoying. There's a very fine line. You want to let a company know that you're interested, but you also don't want to be annoying. That's not good either. As someone who hires people, I want somebody who really wants the job. I don't want somebody who's wishy-washy about it, I want somebody as passionate as I am, and that's tough to find. But if you're really passionate about it, let the company know. But don't be annoying about it. Be professional about it. Don't annoy them constantly. Sometimes you might have to wait. In my case, I had to wait 3 years. That's a long time, man. A lot of people want instant gratification. I waited 3 years until the opportunity was right. So if you want to do it, be passionate about it. Show the company that you're passionate, and show them what you can do for them.
First and foremost, how did I get my foot in the door in the industry? I got my foot in the door in the industry by actually participating on online forums. This was 2005, 2006. I was in graduate school working nights, and I had a lot of extra time on my hand when I was actually done with my schoolwork at my job. And so I spent a lot of time answering questions on the forums regarding fitness and nutrition, because I realized there weren't actually a lot of people on there that had a science background and were actually answering things in a I'd say, highly detailed, research-focused or research-centric manner. So I found a home there, and as a result, I became pretty popular. And then bodybuilding.com actually created a blogging and fitness tracking platform called Body Space. And so I started doing reviews, started logging my workouts, actually started a vlog. I think this was like maybe around 2006. And actually became the #1 blogger on there, I believe 3 years in a row. And as a result, I actually became pretty well known, at least on the digital side of the business, especially to bodybuilding.com customers and even muscular development forum members. So during that time where I graduated and then started working in the real world with a real job, full-time job, I was working in healthcare informatics, but truthfully, I'd always had the fitness bug. I was pretty unhappy in my job. Being a computer scientist and doing client-side enterprise architecture design deployments in major healthcare systems, I was actually getting pretty bored. I lived the lifestyle. I was eating 6 times a day. I was training. I was living a bodybuilder lifestyle. So I really didn't fit in. And I wanted to expand my horizons. So I decided to put a pitch deck together, a digital marketing pitch deck that covered word of mouth marketing, digital marketing, social media marketing, and video marketing, and put it together and decided to head to the Arnold Classic and present it to a few brands. So I met with the marketing managers of a few brands, because again, I was well known in the industry at the time. So me getting these meetings was actually pretty easy. And so I actually met with Muscle Tech, and I actually met with Gaspari Nutrition. I hit it off with both. And the next week I had 2 offers and decided to take the position with Gaspari Nutrition, because at the time I was actually friendly with the CSO, Bruce Neller, who's a very well-known formulator. And I had actually had the opportunity to work under him as a research assistant for the brand and do formulation, and then also work under Vice President of Marketing at the time, Joe Volgi, and also be the digital marketing manager. So I jumped on the opportunity because I was doing formulation and marketing and sort of living out this dream, which I really didn't know where it was heading. So we did that, and we built a lot of cool things, designed a lot of cool things, a lot of well-known global brands, sub-brands for formulation. And then I went on to Director of Strategic Management and Planning. helped put in a lot of the more formal marketing and information systems. I also helped build out the QA/QC program at Gaspari Nutrition, because this was at the time when 21 CFR Part 111 was actually becoming law for brands that size. And let me tell you, it was definitely an interesting transition, because I had worked in regulated industries. I was used to working with 48 CFR Part 200, which you guys have probably never heard of. 21 CFR Part 11. I was also familiar with 21 CFR Part 211, and then 21 CFR Part 110. So 111 was definitely foreign territory for a brand like Gaspari Nutrition, but we managed to implement GMPs mostly unscathed. So from there, that was an interesting time, because I helped transition the brand for being known as a pro-hormone brand and a brand that was making designer steroids, and transition them to more of a mainstream brand. Creating things like Anavite, Aminolast, Glycofuse, the first product that used cyclic dextrin, Super Pump Max, which was one of the first pre-workouts, or actually the first pre-workout to use gram doses of pure citrulline, ornithine aspartate. I introduced all those things to the market through Gaspari Nutrition, and it was an amazing time. And then I transitioned to, I got promoted again, because the brand was growing so fast, going from, I believe, 7 or 8 countries to 114 pretty rapidly, largely predicated on the success of these types of formulations, which were more mainstream. And then I became vice president of brand strategy and product development. And again, I believe that was considered third in command at the time. And then from there, I was promoted again to vice president of business development, because I was working with most of the major distributors and retailers around the globe, sort of collaborating on concepts, and then, putting those concepts and commercializing them, and again, creating best-in-class products. So, truthfully, my time at Gaspari Nutrition, while it was fun and it was, very dynamic, so to speak, there was also a lot of ups and downs. There were recalls, there were class action lawsuits, there was a lot of things. And, so when I left Gaspari Nutrition, I decided to honestly take a little bit of a sabbatical from the industry, and, took a few months off, and then all of a sudden the consulting opportunities start flowing in, because I had built a solid reputation at Gaspari Nutrition on the B2B side of the business. All of a sudden, some of the largest brands in the world started approaching me to help them with digital marketing, niche marketing, formulation strategy, formulation scalability, so on and so forth. And I've been consulting ever since. And fortunately, I've been able to work in many modes with some of the best and biggest brands in the world. So why I don't really see that there's a lot of, recognition these days about being a formulator, because there's not a lot of innovation. Largely, I've tapped back into my computer science background, and now I'm doing enterprise architecture planning for brands from a marketing and information system perspective, building scalable businesses. And it's pretty cool, because again, I'm still working in the supplement industry. I still do formulation, still work on the manufacturing side. I'm just now helping brands design, their enterprise architectures to help build their D2C platforms. And truthfully, that's something that we had built at Gaspari Nutrition way back in the day, because we were innovating video, putting in an influencer out there in Rich Gaspari, and we had a really cool platform that was honestly ahead of its time. But now I'm able to apply that knowledge in today's world. So my advice for guys out there now looking to get involved in the supplement industry is be passionate about what you want to get involved in. Even though I was getting degrees in computer science, I was also taking classes in food science, nutrition, nutritional biochem, organic chemistry. Like, those were actually my electives. Call me a nerd, but I was passionate about understanding the body and the application of food, nutrition, so on and so forth to performance, okay? Because again, while in college, graduate school, I wanted to be a bodybuilder. I wanted to learn how to fuel myself, how to build my body, and just honestly get fucking huge and strong. So those are my electives. So passion is one thing, but in today's world, you honestly need technical skills. And what I mean is today's D2C world is all about digital marketing, technical marketing, search engine marketing, social media marketing, display advertising, physical display advertising, voice search. You've got to, if you want to excel in today's world, I'll tell you this, don't fucking listen to Gary Vee. Okay? I'm just going to be real. I think like he's a digital marketing genius, but he's also teaching you guys down the wrong path, because at the end of the day, just because you put out content, just because you believe in yourself doesn't mean that's going to take you anywhere. You actually need real skills. And some of the most successful people in this industry now are the guys behind the scenes using digital marketing skills, using digital marketing tactics. And these are things that you do not learn on Instagram. You do not learn on YouTube, okay? These are proprietary techniques where we all have the same tool set. It's just a matter of how you apply them. So my suggestion is actually be passionate about food nutrition. Be passionate about the lifestyle. I believe I actually met Josh at one of the bodybuilding.com expos, I believe they used to have a fitness expo. I think it was maybe 2010 or 11. I think Josh was working at Beast. I was working at Gaspar Nutrition. And we actually met each other in the gym, training before the actual expo. And, it was the Boise Fitness Expo, I think, or maybe I don't even remember what it was called. But the point is, circle back 7, 8, 9 years later, here I am answering questions for him. And, we never would have probably touched base had we not met training, even though we were both in the industry at the time. So be passionate about it, and don't take the things that you're learning on social media at face value, because I think we've all seen, the picture of the iceberg where there's a little piece peeking out of the top of the ocean, but then there's this huge foundation below it. And that's really how marketing works in this industry. Social media can be the top of the funnel, but it actually, of the sales funnel, but you actually have to know what the sales and marketing funnel is and how to apply today's techniques to get anywhere with it. The biggest and smartest brands these days are building their strategies based off customer lifetime value, understanding CLV ratios to CAC ratios, or building those ratios, understanding how then to apply, margins to that, understanding their margins based off their acquisition channels. And it's a science. It is not guessing. It is not just putting content out there and hoping to get a Hail Mary. It's not putting the next, Fitspo video on Instagram and getting a couple hundred views and thinking, okay, that's going to make my brand, because it doesn't. Okay. And that's my advice. Stop believing in the social media hype, because I can tell you, as someone that works with some of the top brands, social media is barely a focus. Okay. It's really what goes on behind the scenes and using customer information to your advantage, not just posting random bullshit online. If I had to start over, what would I change? I actually wouldn't change anything. My degrees are in computer science. It is very applicable today, because I'm able to do what I do, which is enterprise architecture planning and development planning for major brands. I think, again, the tech background really helps in today's D2C world. What's helped me go further with brands is because of my pedigree and who I've worked for and the successes that I've built with a lot of brands, but also that I have a technical background. It's not just talking theory. It's not just talking social media techniques. It's actually being able to design systems that help brands scale from startup phase to over $100 million a year in annual revenue. So again, I wouldn't change a thing. I think I picked the right path, but I was also passionate about the lifestyle in choosing that path. So it allowed me to really excel in today's world. And I'm actually accelerating in what I do. So my thing, guys, is, a lot of you out there are trying to chase the formulator dream, or trying to chase the, the social media marketing guru dream. And I'll tell you what, those aren't dreams to follow. Really understand, digital marketing, advanced theory. Learn, understanding food and nutrition doesn't take a lot of education. It takes passion. And my suggestion to all of you out there is stop believing the hype that you see on social media. It's a fallacy. When you really understand what's building some of the fastest growing brands out there, understand that social media is just one of many tools, okay? And if you really, really, really want to do well in this industry, start learning customer centricity theory. Trust me, it will take you far.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions for me or you have any questions for the guys, I'm sure everybody would love to provide as much assistance as they can. If there's anything that you maybe don't feel comfortable asking, or maybe you want some individual advice, feel free to contact me anytime. I'd be glad to help you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.